The Hillary Clinton computer server scandal. First came the crime, then the cover-up. A medley of deceptions, distortions, and dissembling. Lies, too many to count, and evidence destroyed. Clinton was reckless in her mishandling of classified documents, but that's not the worst part. The even bigger scandal is the Department of Justice and the FBI let her get away with it.
Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
Comey and Attorney General Loretta Lynch conducted a sham, politically tainted investigation. But don't take my word for it. Listen to the questions and the testimony. Look at the evidence. Weigh it all as if you're a juror. I'll cite government documents and page numbers. Want to look at them yourself? Go ahead. They're all online. But first, a glimpse of the debate and controversy surrounding the government decision not to prosecute Clinton.
I spent 9.5 years as an undercover officer in the CIA. I was the guy in the back alleys collecting intelligence, passing it to lawmakers. I've seen my friends killed. I've seen assets put themselves in harm's way. And this is about protecting information, the most sensitive information the American government has. So the former Secretary of State, one of the president's most important advisors on foreign policy and national security, had a server in her basement that had information that was collected from our most sensitive assets, and it was not protected by anyone, and that's not a crime? That's outrageous. People are concerned. What does it take for someone to misuse classified information and get in trouble for it?
Well, it takes mishandling it and criminal intent.
And so an unauthorized server in the basement is not mishandling.
Well, no, there is evidence of mishandling here. This whole investigation at the end focused on, is there sufficient evidence of intent?
And they ended up with this ridiculous, asinine statement that Hillary Clinton could not be, they had no intent because she didn't know what was going on. I mean, that's just a pathetic answer.
The Justice Department shaped the FBI investigation in a number of ways. Most importantly, it refused to impanel a grand jury.
Let me ask you this. We both impaneled many grand juries, investigative grand juries. Why not impanel an investigative grand jury, and then you have the ability to get warrants, subpoenas, get this information, subpoena witnesses before the grand jury under oath, and if they refuse to testify then you can say, fine, we're going to take you before a judge, hold you in contempt, and then you're going to sit in jail until you answer our question. Why did you not decide to go to an investigative grand jury?
I need to steer clear of talking about grand jury use in a particular matter. In general, in my experience, you can often do things faster with informal agreements.
I think you're one of the more upright people I've met. I think you just blew it. Anybody else would have been prosecuted under this. In my humble opinion,
You're just wrong.
You say no.
Wrong. This case was investigated by a group of professionals. So if I blew it, they blew it too. Career FBI agents, the very best we have, were put on this. This organization and the people who did this are honest, independent people. We do not carry water for one side or the other. That's hard for people to see because so much of our country we see things through sides. We are not on anybody's side. You can call us wrong, but don't call us weasels. We are not weasels. We are honest people, and we did this in that way. Whether you disagree or agree with the result, this was done the way you would want it to be done. I hope people will separate two things: questions about facts and judgment from questions and accusations about integrity. As I said before, you can call us wrong, you can call me a fool, you cannot call us weasels, okay? That is just not fair, and I hope we haven't gotten to a place in American public life where everything has to be torn down on an integrity basis just to disagree. You can disagree with this. There is just not a fair basis for saying that we did it in any way that wasn't honest and independent. That's when I get a little worked up, sorry.
His pretense yesterday and at the other hearings that he was deeply offended that anyone would question the integrity of his investigation. You'd have to be a loon not to question the integrity of his investigation. It's so blatantly obvious that this was like a cheap prize fight and he took a dive. That's what this was. This was a law enforcement dive.
Justice Department decisions ensured there was no grand jury, no subpoenas, no interview transcripts, no recorded testimony, no testimony under oath. President Clinton's meeting with Attorney General Lynch revealed politics at play. Text messages by lead FBI investigator Peter Strzok showed intense bias against Trump. Add that all up, and what do you have?
That was just a sham investigation. They had no process. They had no grand jury. They had no subpoenas. They were begging people to turn over their equipment.
They did a completely irresponsible investigation of this case.
And there's a long list of missing evidence, which we'll go into later. But our first report returns to the scene of the crime. This is the scene of the crime, Chappaqua, New York, the home of Bill and Hillary Clinton. There's a private server in the basement, an Apple computer. It's unsecured. All of the Secretary of State's email goes through it, unencrypted.
And when Mrs. Clinton did that, when she set that up, she committed a crime.
The FBI says roughly 2,100 emails with classified government information went through the Apple and other servers that replaced it.
The creation of the private server, ipso facto, from its inception, it was illegal. That was an illegal act, the establishment of that server to provide all the email for Mrs. Clinton.
From the day she was sworn in to her last day in office, she sent or received 10 classified emails a week on average.
When you have that private server in your home in Chappaqua, and it's off the grid, it's not government, it's not encrypted, it's not secure, and you know that everything going through that, no matter what its classification, is going to be theoretically compromisable. And when you and your staff use BlackBerries that are not encrypted, or iPhones, or Droids, and you communicate with iPads through that computer, all of that information is compromisable.
She had been briefed on how to protect classified information, but she didn't do it.
This is a person with the highest classification authority possible who used a private server to conduct all of her government business. And without any, this has nothing to do with politics. That's illegal, per se. And the reason is very simple. The government has a classified email system for a reason. It's to protect the integrity of national security information, national defense information, and to prevent its disclosure to unauthorized persons. The existence of that server violates every known federal law on the protection of classified information.
Clinton's server contained classified information from the State Department, the Defense Department, the CIA, the National Security Agency, the FBI, and the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency.
So the agencies were quite unhappy about what was going on. They were not happy that their information was not protected the way it should have been.
McCullough, the Inspector General for the intelligence community, referred the case to the FBI as soon as he learned about Clinton's secret, unprotected server.
When we heard about this to begin with, that there was an unsecured server, frankly, we looked at each other and said, who does that?
Who does that? Clinton did for 4 years. When headlines blared that Clinton used a private unsecured server, she denied government secrets were involved.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified materials.
Congress raised that issue with FBI Director James Comey.
Secretary Clinton said she never sent or received any classified information over her private email. There is no classified material. Was that true?
There was classified material emailed.
Some of those emails, according to the FBI's redacted report, had the highest classification possible. Page 23 discusses them. 22 emails designated special access programs, more sensitive than top secret. FBI Director James Comey summarized the Bureau's findings in his July 5, 2016 briefing.
7 email chains concern matters that were classified at the top secret special access program at the time they were sent and received. Those chains involve Secretary Clinton both sending emails about those matters and receiving emails about those same matters.
The 22 Special Access Program emails on Clinton's server were very sensitive, as Charles McCullough, the Inspector General for the intelligence community, explained in an exclusive interview with Fox News.
Had the information been released, there would have been harm to national security.
So putting lives at risk?
Absolutely. Sources and methods, lives, operations.
McCullough also testified in Congress about special access programs, often referred to as SAP.
The SAP information would be characterized as the most sensitive, among the most sensitive information that we have in the government in terms of classification.
22 emails so secret that even the IG staff couldn't see them at first.
This is the segment of emails that I had to have people in my office read in to particular programs to even see these emails. We didn't possess the required clearances.
And yet those emails sat unprotected and unsecured on Clinton's server. In all, the FBI found 110 emails classified top secret, secret, or confidential when they were sent and received.
110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time they were sent or received. 8 of those chains contained information that was top secret at the time they were sent. 36 of those chains contained secret information at the time, and 8 contained confidential information at the time. That's the lowest level of classification.
Many more emails were later upgraded to classified when it was determined how valuable they were.
About 2,000 additional emails were up-classified to make them confidential. Those emails had not been classified at the time that they were sent or received.
So like fine wine, Clinton's emails became more valuable over time to anyone who may have obtained them, including spies.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system. But their presence is especially concerning because all of these emails were housed on unclassified personal servers, not even supported by full-time security staff, like those found at agencies and departments of the United States government, or even with a commercial email service like Gmail.
When headlines told the public Clinton did send and receive classified email, Clinton changed her story. She claimed none of them were marked classified.
I never sent or received anything that was marked classified. I will reiterate, because it's a fact, nothing I sent or received was marked classified.
Now back to that congressional hearing.
Secretary Clinton said there was nothing marked classified on her emails either sent or received. Was that true?
That's not true. There were a small number of portion markings on, I think, 3 of the documents.
Under law, classified information is classified whether marked or not.
Even if information is not marked classified in an email, participants who know or should know that the subject matter is classified are still obligated to protect it.
Clinton vowed to protect it the day after being sworn in when she signed this federal non-disclosure agreement. It states classified information may be marked or unmarked.
The espionage statutes and the gross negligence statutes say nothing about the labels on a piece of paper or an email. What matters is the substance of the information in the communication, and it is the duty of everyone who was signed a so-called non-disclosure agreement when they are given their top secret security clearance. They sign a piece of paper that says, I know it's my duty to know what's classified, whether it's marked or not. The classification markings mean nothing when it comes to whether or not something is classified.
It's absolutely irrelevant whether or not something is marked classified.
Right.
It's the character of the information. We have an intelligence community with very good men and women who collect intelligence, and that information gets disseminated. And even if the information isn't marked properly when it's disseminated, it's still classified. What matters is the information, not the marking on it.
Right.